I'm Ingrid Eckermann. I'm the president of the Swedish Doctors for Environment. And I just want to say to you, Roland, that actually, in my opinion, the chemicals are much worse.
But it's a chemical.
Okay, that's just my opinion. I said the chemicals are worse than the radiation. And I want to tell some points to you. We don't really have that today. I hope you know that the study of Martin Tondel has been very much criticized. I am not the person who can really have an opinion about this criticism, but you should know about it. You should say it when you talk about his studies. You should also tell that it is criticized by medical doctors. It is very much. It's supposed to be one of these dissertations that should not have passed. Yes, it's very serious criticism.
I know all the criticisms and they're wrong.
Maybe they are, but you should then you should have to actually tell why.
I was asked by Martin Tondel to come to his Viva because he needed some defence of the criticism which he was coming at, but unfortunately I had to go to a court case in America, so I couldn't go.
I couldn't come either. And then I wonder that the breast cancer figures, are they adjusted for age? And are they adjusted for introduction of mammography screening? Because that was not done.
They're adjusted for age, that's all.
But not for the mammography screening. Because when you introduce mammography screening in an area, you will expect that you will have a rise of cancers the first years, and after a few years they will go down. So you must have...
I agree.
Yes.
And I would also like to say too, and also in response to the criticisms from the physicist Giza here, is that this is not intended to be, it never was intended to be any more than a supporting evidence for the hypothesis which is based on a previous study. Okay? So my previous study was a very extensive study of the Irish Sea over a very long period of time, which gave a highly statistically significant result. Right. And it was clearly based on exposure to radiation. All that I've done with the Baltic Sea is a very quick and dirty study of the large counties. And to do this study properly, as I've been to Helsinki and talked to the cancer registry people there, is to get hold of the municipal data that Martin Tondel had so that we can actually do the same study that we did in the Irish Sea. But we haven't been able to get that because they refused to give us the data.
But you can get the figures of the mammography screening, that is...
Roland, where is microphone?
Somewhere you can get it.
I don't know.
And then I just wonder about the Fallujah, because if one should do an epidemiology study there, one should make the family history, take everyone who is born and dead in this family, and also look at exposure. Did they actually live here during these years, and so on? Yeah, the Fallujah, yes. And also, because, I mean, what you showed was that the living children, it showed the sex race between the surviving boys and girls, but you never told the ones who died. What did they die from? Epidemics, accidents, or some strange diseases?
No, absolutely agree.
So, because they die mostly from epidemics and accidents, especially boys die from accidents.
Well, we have data for congenital malformations, but the reason that we use the infant mortality data, which I agree could contain all sorts of other vectors, was because it became quickly apparent that the women didn't like to talk about congenital malformations. This is a similar thing that we found after Hiroshima too, because I've interviewed people who interviewed the Hibakushas, who said that the reason that the Americans didn't find any any serious evidence of congenital malformation is because the Japanese women were not prepared to concede that they did have any such children, because it would have been a slight on their family and on their status. And we found this also to be the case in Iraq, and I suggest that we would find it the same in any country that we went to, which is why we chose infant mortality as an indicator. But I have to say that what we're looking here is a pattern of congenital disease, of genetic disease. And so you mustn't just look at the sex ratio or the infant mortality, you have to look at the whole pattern. And the pattern is a pattern which is clearly consistent with support for the evidence that was being given by the Iraqi doctors. And that's all that we can say.
Sorry, your statement was about the, am I correct by saying the chemicals in that we use cause more cancer. Is that
Tell
right?
your name. Tell your name. Tell your name.
So Graham or Rabbit. It's my last name, so I tell most people.
New Zealand. All the way from New Zealand.
So you were saying that in general the chemicals are causing more cancer than radiation.
No. It's a greater problem.
It's a greater problem.
It's a greater long-term problem, in my personal view. I
Okay.
don't have any evidence, and I
Yeah.
don't think we should discuss this. It's not important.
Well,
question.
I think it's
comment.
okay, but I think it's very relevant because the two ways we produce energy, which we don't need to, is from nuclear and from oil, or say coal or petrol. Basically, the ways that we produce power that we don't need to are the ways which are causing cancer. The chemicals from the oil industry and a lot of radioactivity from the nuclear industry. So basically,
And oil.
Yeah, oil when you have
Radioactivity from oil.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so basically combined or separate, that's what's causing the cancer in our society. And so when we talk about the problems here, we've been able to, through much evidence, show that there are a lot of problems. And what we need to be able to also provide is the solutions to the power that these people, and people in power, are fooling the population through arguments of climate change and cheap power. But basically, we have the technical ability to not have to use nuclear or any of these things. So I think it's something just to put out there, a thought that we do have the technical capabilities to produce much more power than we need. So we don't need oil or we don't need nuclear power. So I think that's something that we should continually repeat to everyone that we see in this argument is that we don't need these things. So this would have a direct effect on cancers from all these chemicals from the petrochemical industry.
Cancer is only a small problem.
I must answer this question about chemicals because it's extremely important, even if you don't want me to, because there is evidence. And the evidence is in the study of cancer rates on the east coast of England and on the west coast of England. Now, the rainfall on the west coast of England is 3 times higher than the rainfall on the east coast of England. And because of that, there are no crops grown on the west coast of England. So it's not an agricultural area. These are mountainous areas with high rainfall. Now, the cancer epidemic began in 1979 on the west coast, and it began in 1983 on the east coast, slightly later on. The east coast is the area with the agrochemicals. It's sprayed with huge amounts of agrochemicals all of the time. And in studying cancer rates, particularly female breast cancer rates on the east coast and the west coast, you find that the cancer rates are much, much higher on the areas of high rainfall and much, much lower in the areas of high chemicals. The rainfall brings down the fallout. There's 3 times the amount of fallout on the west coast than there is on the east coast. So this is evidence supporting the idea that actually it's radiation that is much more dangerous than chemicals. I'm not saying the chemicals are not a serious problem, by no means. But if we have to classify these as vectors for cancer, certainly my money is on the radiation as being the main vector for cancer. And in fact, in terms of the studies that have been done of fat in women with breast cancer, looking for chemicals inside the fat, they have shown that there have been no differences between the cases and the controls in terms of the chemicals which could be causing cancer.
Okay,
cancer is only a small
we have to
problem.
go on. This question is very nice.
And uranium is, even after it's not, when it's not radioactive, is one of the worst chemical poisons.
Okay, thank you so much for the very interesting question. But we have, maybe we'll give one word also to another guy in the panel here, Vitaly. Please have a word.
I'm Vitaly Serevetnik from Murmansk, northwest of Russia, from Murmansk Regional Youth Public Environmental Organization, HM Youth. I think I would like to propose one thing. Now our organization and some other organizations start campaign for ratification and to convention, ESPO and Aarhus Convention. We think that it's very important and it can be a very nice mechanism to influence to Russia and Belarus too and other countries participation for NGO in some dangerous projects and nuclear projects too. And for example, about Russia, Russia signed a SPO convention but not ratificate, and don't sign Aarhus convention. And now we start campaign and collect signatures to our president, prime minister, and some other guys. And everybody can sign this petition.
Which website?
You can send. I have paper. You can
Tell the website.
sign now, or you can send your signatures to not website to email. I don't remember now, but I can send you information about it. And I think it can be a very good help to NGO from post-Soviet Union countries.
Okay, thank you.
Region.
Thank you so much.
Send it to Dina and she can put it on the homepage.
As I mentioned, we'll put Belarus in our network.
A major step to get Russia to ratify the Helsinki Convention.
And then we will have your organizations there too. So here is also Georgi Fyodorovich Lepin wanting to tell us.
If you speak your English.
Yes.
I'll just write.
Мы представляем здесь две страны, Беларусь и Россию. Я хочу сказать о том, что атомные технологии, они отличаются от всех остальных тем, что они не ограничены каким-то регионом. Они
Thank you.
охватывают...
Thank you. I'm not professional. I can't take much more. So Professor says that they represent both Russia and Belarus, and the atomic energy is not limited to one region. Even one plant affects the whole world.
Атомные технологии охватывают своим воздействием на природу и людей весь земной шар, всю нашу планету.
Я уже сказала, Руд.
Так вот, в связи с этим и мы с вами должны объединить свои усилия. Не может быть отдельно борьбы шведского народа с атомной энергетикой, белорусского и российского. Мы должны быть общим действием против этой зловредной технологии. Вот это я и хочу высказать.
Большое спасибо. So, Professor Lepin says, let's unite. Only together we will make a difference. And that's what we will do tomorrow. We have network meeting. There are still hours. You can call the people you know and tell them to come here in this house again.
In another room.
In another room, in a bit smaller room. We will be meeting for 3 hours, from 3 to 6 tomorrow. And then we will see the beautiful plan, how we will make a difference.
Поэтому вы можете считать, что с вами вместе и Россия, и Беларусь.
So Russian and Belarus are have the same opinions.
А мы после этой встречи уверены в том, что на нашей стороне и все вы. То есть будем работать вместе.
And we will work together because we know that we will be united soon.
Yes.
Thanks so much. I guess this is a great note to finish it all. If you any question to the panel, we will continue tomorrow. Thanks so much.
Tack för att ni kom.
Can I make one comment?
Yes.
I guess I'm the only pro-nuclear person here.
Yeah, it's okay. It's wonderful you are with us. And we love you for being pro-nuclear because
I want to
we needed duality. We needed duality discussion, indeed.
Yes, and this is a general problem that I see because from my colleagues and also other pro-nuclear networks, they see you as a bunch of nuts. And you see them as us as bought by the big nuclear industry and the weapons, and there are a lot of conspiracies, and we don't talk to each other. I mean, I took an extra day of holiday to go here. My wife hates me for it. Because
Tell her that we beam all our love to your wife.
Thank you.
Well, we're grateful. We're very grateful that she accepted.
And my intention was here to come and ask questions that are on what I know. And I see there are many interesting things that you're saying, many things that I'm trying to figure out, does this make sense or not from my limited knowledge. And I hear many things that I know, but this is not right or it's taken out of context. We have Swedish environmental organizations, 9 of them behind this beautiful thing. Some of these groups have government funding to do critical scrutiny of Swedish nuclear power. And when I read this, I show this to my colleagues, and what the hell? I mean, they laugh about it. And your flyer about this nuclear tool, when I show them, and this plot that Per Hegelund shows with the cesium, I mean, things are taken many times out of context, or okay, it's tricky things.
If you don't like the illustrations, you have to complain to Helcom, because it's their illustrations, you know.
Yes, but you read the whole report, number 117. Put it in context. I can give you this. You show one plot, but you don't show the other one from the same report to put it into context. You say
it is like the illustration show, but it's not dangerous. That's what they say.
But please, you are so right. We are the camps that don't speak.
And you need to get the facts right. And
could you
I
please?
was very critical to Professor Pascal. I apologize for rambling on, but because to me, you admit it's a quick and dirty study you did, because it's what you can do with the access you have. But you stand here, and there are many people in the audience who trust you, and there are many confounders, like the professor here says. I'm sorry.
They're right to trust me because what I find is what is really true. That's the point.
That is what you're saying, and
the
what
point
you're...
with this that we dispute you and I dispute what I put up on the board there, okay? But then I ask you to do the same study and show me how it's wrong, because I'm prepared to look at that. So you do the same thing that I did, and put the same table down and show me that that the cancer rates didn't fall in the inland areas. And if that's the case, then I'll have to accept it. But from my analysis of those data, they fell in the inland areas and they rose in the sea.
So once again, Chernobyl was beneficial to women in Jämtland because you had minus 20% and the other counties had plus 20%. So how do you explain?
There are other causes that cause breast cancer to go down, for instance. It doesn't have to be because Chernobyl was beneficial to the people that live inland.
No, but there's a constant increase.
But you shouldn't
I'm sorry,
have a quick and dirty study. That is what is the wrong thing. You shouldn't present a quick and dirty study in this kind of audience. You can do that in a scientific audience, where you can discuss how much can I actually use these figures. But you shouldn't do it in this kind of audience where you have laymen.
I think that it is the duty of a scientist to present their views to the public. And there's another point here, and that is that many, many studies that I have done have been sent to journals. Now that study on Fallujah that I just showed you went to the Lancet, okay? Now the Lancet didn't even send it to referees. They threw it out immediately. Now, I wrote a study of uranium photoelectron effects. Now, this study of uranium photoelectron effects has since been covered by somebody else, a chap called Patterson in Australia, who wrote a paper for the Royal Society Journal Interface, and that was published. But I wrote a paper for the journal Royal Society Interface, and 4 referees said that this was an important development in the understanding of uranium risk. 4 referees, and the journal editor threw it out. Okay? So this is the sort of thing that happens if you try to engage with the scientific establishment. No, so what I do is I think that these things are so important, so critically important to the health of the human race, to our children, to the people that we love, that it is my duty as a scientist to take this to the people, through the media, through the video, through any way in which I can, because people are dying out there, and I'm not going to stand back and send papers to the bloody Lancet that they throw out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
but it is a great point you have. It is actually
a big point for me. Okay, this is my life, and I'm protecting the human race as far as I see it. You may think that I'm wrong, and you can come back at me and say that this number's wrong, or I should have considered that, and all the rest of it. And I'll accept your criticism. I'll try to find out, where I went wrong.
Anyway, thank you, Chris. Don't have pain in this.
is just run this system through the peer review literature, because that is a black hole.
Thank you, Chris. Anyway, we are a bit stuck in different camps, and we are really grateful that you two came here, because we really need the dialogue. This is a wonderful, wonderful line you have here. And as you see, Chris thinks that he's protecting you too. And he thinks that he's protecting your children too.
I'm protecting him.
Yeah, so we are united here. And as you rightfully say, we need to meet more. And I hope you will go home and tomorrow morning you will call your friends and say, hello, come at 3 o'clock and let's meet.
I can tell you why, because our organization, the Swedish Doctors for the Environment, our organization, the Swedish Doctors for the Environment, we are based on scientific ground. And
there is no science.
Yeah,
there is no science in feudal society.
Everything that we say and what we so on must have a scientific base. Otherwise, we will not be able to say trovärdig.
That's why we are dying first, and
No,
then you get your science.
Trustworthy. We will not be trustworthy by our colleagues, and we want to reach our colleagues. There are very many. We have very many too few members in our organization, and if we are not scientifically trustworthy, they will not become members, will not support us.
Thank you.
That is
everybody says that, even SKB says that they are trustworthy, and certainly they are not trustworthy. So the trustworthy we hope that we are, but so many people are not. The only thing that some of us sitting here, we are not representing anything. We are just representing our science and our free studies. And the interesting thing that at least several are anchoring what we are saying in observational facts, not in computer models or ideas which they are fighting for in order, and old stuff. So that should also be appreciated.
But I really want to make a very important point. We don't have science, because we don't have the whole spectrum of truth. We are different.
We're not given the money. Our tax
the money is only in your camp, and the money is not in this camp. So the duality that I showed in that cube... Let me talk. So the duality of truth has to involve the whole spectrum of the arguments. It all has to be researched, and we have to know what is really truth. But right now, when industry has this economical system to rely on, which is very strange, which is destroying the planet, you all know it. We don't have science. So this talk about that you have to rely on scientists, you have to rephrase it, because there is no science while we are not independent individuals in the society.
It's in that book, the blue book.
The same people who control scientists are the same people who endorse the scientists who endorse swine flu, which almost caused a global pandemic. If the Baxter vaccine had made it through and the Czech laboratory technician had not checked to see the vaccines which were coming through. So it's like Chris is saying, the science cannot come through as a whole picture because of the monetary interests. So again and again, we're not getting the full picture. So science is not.
I want to say,
independent science can also be good enough.
I must tell you one thing on this topic, that 1974, the scientist who waked the Swedish people up for environment, Hans Palmstierna, he said in a secret meeting where I was present with only ministers of state and the top people in the Social Democratic Party of Solna Sundbyberg, and he said, there is almost no science research in this country which is not orchestrated by the vested interests. It's all the ones who decide where the money goes have connections to the big industries. So now I am going to create an environment research institute which is not dependent people. Half a year later he was found drowned. His project was never put through.
Thank you, but let's finish on a nice note. I'm sure that we will not get drowned. We will survive, and we will make that duality happen. We will try to put our opinions into the whole spectrum of science and discuss and discover where is the truth. And please, come to us.
And market this kind of events much better so more people will come.
You know, we have invested, we have no money to do this. And we've made this happen with no money. We have 30,000 debt now.
I know, but marketing, you could have more people paying.
Anyway, let's work together. We love you, we love the world.
It was very good, that's why I would like to have
Thank you so
many
much.
more people here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
Now, no more questions. I'm sorry, we have to finish.
Yes.
Tomorrow is another day, 3 o'clock. You're welcome back.
Many thanks for your time.
We have to be out before 10 o'clock.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Okay, so he's offering it to me.
When I'm traveling around the world and see all these countries, I should be able to refer to. I need to read them. That's what I've been doing with the little red one, the old one. Yes.